Hello and welcome to DC Craze, the Hitchhiker's Guide to Comic Books, and today I'm doing a little bit of a different video. I thought it would be good to explain to some people who don't know kind of how the universe of DC exists for us. So the shows, the TV shows, or the shows, the movies, and the comic books, how they're all separate and how they all fit in and how they work. So without further ado, let's get started. So DC has three unique, in real life, universes. They have the TV universe, which consists of the CW shows like Flash and Arrow. There's Lucifer. There's Supergirl. There's the movies, which are Suicide Squad, Batman vs Superman, and Man of Steel. And then there's the comic books, which is the New 52 or DC Rebirth, which I'll also get into later. And do not expect a crossover with any of the other shows with Lucifer, because I highly doubt that would happen. And they're just too different. It probably would never happen. So first I'm going to explain how the CW and TV shows and stuff like that works. So in this universe, there's about three. So there's the Flash and the Arrow, which are both in actually the same universe. And how that works is actually the Flash and the Arrow can cross over, right? But they can't cross over with movies because they're completely separate. Mostly because they're being made by different production companies who want to make different shows and want to make unique money. Now, most of the time, these guys will not cross over with other shows such as Lucifer and Supergirl, but it can happen. It's just one company will be making less money, so it's not really something that either of them want to do very often, but it is possible in TV shows specifically. You will never see crossover with any of the shows that you're watching right now, such as Supergirl or Arrow or Flash. They will never cross over with movies, but they can sometimes cross over with other TV shows being made at the time, such as the Flash's crossover with Supergirl. Now, this doesn't happen all the time, and it won't happen very often, and I highly doubt that it will even happen with any other show such as Lucifer. I think it's specifically to Supergirl and the Arrow. Now, that's not to say that that's not possible, it's just very unlikely with Lucifer. Each of the TV show universes will have a different version of characters and a different version of the cities and a different version of their whole reality, just because they can really, and they can make their universe in that TV show any way they want because it's not related to the other TV shows. Now, next I want to talk about the movie universe. Now, the movie universe is, for the most part, all connected. And I say for the most part because there are certain movies which are connected and there are certain movies that are not. And an example would be Batman Begins or The Dark Knight Rises or The Dark Knight, because those movies are separate from the newer DC movies. So the way this works is it's exactly like Marvel. Marvel, all their movies are connected. So characters you see in one Marvel movie, you will also be able to see in another one. And so DC is doing the same thing. So they made their first DC Cinematic Universe, and their DC Cinematic Universe starts with the movie Man of Steel. So every single DC movie, cinematic movie made by Warner Brothers, after Man of Steel will be in that DC universe, and all those characters are in the same universe. But any movie before that, such as Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises, and other movies such as those will not be in the universe, and they are in their separate, independent universes. So all you need to know, really, is that Batman vs Superman, Suicide Squad, and Man of Steel are all in the same universe, hence the same actors and the same events going on. That's all you really need to know about the movie universe, that those three are connected, and any movie coming after that will also be in that universe, and any movie before that is not in that cinematic universe. And like I said earlier, this universe is completely separate from the TV universe, unlike Marvel, where Marvel everything is connected. It's only movies can be together and they're completely separate from the show. So, Wonder Woman and like Aquaman, all those new movies will be in the new DC Cinematic Universe. Now finally, I want to talk about the comic books. And so the comic books are again in a separate universe, but this one's a little bit more obvious. I mean, obviously that the comic books are not in the same universe as the movies, it's completely different. So the comic books are in a completely different universe, but most of the TV shows, or all the TV shows and all the movies, are based off of the comic books. Preferably New 52 and earlier, and these comic books are just pretty much the canon of the whole story. Anything that happens in the comic books is what happened automatically because they're canon. And so movies and TV shows will make adaptations on these already made stories for their own. But now I'm warning you right here now that this is where it will get incredibly confusing. Now if you saw my recent video on how many DC universes are there, you'll know that the New 52 is a rebirth of the old Silver Age, Golden Age, and Bronze Age comic books. Now, how this works is that there are 52 universes, and each universe will have a separate origin for each individual character. So, pretty much, Superman in Earth 5 will not be the same as Superman in Earth 52. They're going to be separate because they're in separate universes, kind of like parallel universes, right? And so, the base universe being Earth 0. When you buy a comic book, you will almost 100% of the time buy a comic book from Earth 1, which is the base comic book. All the origins you know, like Batman's parents being killed, spoilers by the way, you know, Wonder Woman being an Amazon, Aquaman from Atlantis, that is the base. All those origins that you will know, all the popular origins you know, are all from Earth 1. But let's say you want to read a comic book about, like, Batman being combined with Wolverine. You would have to go search for a different Earth. So, you would have to go probably order online, because I haven't seen very many of these comics. But if you wanted a specific comic that takes place in a different Earth, with a different origin, different characters, different time period, you would have to look for that specifically, and it will say on the comic book. So if you want to read a comic book about Earth 8, you have to find a comic book that either has Earth 8 in it or takes place in Earth 8, which can be difficult, and you may have to order online to find the specific one you want. So what I'm telling you guys really is, if you're going to go out and buy a comic book, do not be worried about which Earth it takes place on, as long as it's the title of the comic book that you want. So Justice League, not like Justice League Dark, Justice League Unlimited, or something like that. As long as this is the comic book you want specifically, it's probably going to be on Earth 1, unless it says so otherwise on it, or if you just open it up and see that it doesn't take place on Earth 1. So, pretty much, there are 52 different universes with different time periods, different origins, different characters, but the main one that you almost 99% of the time pick up at a comic book store, or just like Indigo, or somewhere like that, somewhere simple where you can get comic books, is always going to be Earth 1. Because the most comics are made for Earth 1, the original origins, and the original backstories of each comic book character. So hopefully that clarifies a few things for you guys about the whole different universes of DC. So there's the TV show universe, which each one has its own universe, kind of like the comic books, with the CW's Arrowverse, and Lucifer and Supergirl's universe. There's the movies, which are pre-DC Cinematic Universe, and then the DC Cinematic Universe, and the ones in the DC Cinematic Universe are all interconnected and take place in the same universe, whereas the ones before that are all separate unless they're in a line of movies such as Batman Begins and The Dark Knight Rises. And then there's the comic books, which have 52 universes, Earth 1 being the main one, and the rest of them being their own universe, which also has their own line of comics. And so hopefully you guys now understand all the universes of each individual form of media, and then you understand which one is different and which ones you may be seeing crossovers with your characters with. That's kind of what I wanted to clarify in this video, so I hope it helped. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this will help you guys kind of figure out what's going on in all the movies, the TV shows, and the comic books, make the comics a lot more simple for you. You may need to rewatch the video, and I'm sorry if I'm not too great at explaining, but if you did like this, don't forget to leave us a like and subscribe, and don't forget to share, and I will see you all in the next video. And you know, if you made it this far, I salute you.